Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to covering one of our least favorite YouTube networks, BuzzFeed. They recently rebranded one of their beauty channels into being called As Is. Pretty stupid name, and they've got even stupider content over there too. One of their older videos began getting shared around again recently, so I thought I would go ahead and finally cover it here. It's called What It's Like to Be a Woman on YouTube, and it's obviously full of lots of bullshit. In my opinion, being a woman on YouTube isn't that different than being a man, but I'm sure the leftists at BuzzFeed beg to differ with that one. So with all that said, let's go ahead and check out their video and see what's up.
I love making YouTube videos. I love making content that makes you laugh or think or see the world differently, but I hate that my job comes with a daily dose of harassment.
Well, I wouldn't call mean comments on YouTube harassment. I know people like to throw that word around willy-nilly these days, but I would say we could go at least with the legal definition here. Harassment by law is generally defined as a course of conduct which annoys, threatens, intimidates, alarms, or puts a person in fear for their safety. Now, if any of these women truly feel harassed, I would say by all means, bring that case to court and charge the supposed harasser. But if that's not the case, pun intended, then I would suggest these social justice warriors quit crying about it. They're certainly the types of people who think anyone who disagrees with them is harassing them, so I say this is probably all hogwash. And this is also a direct product of liberal indoctrination in schools. This is the kind of weak-willed, sheltered behavior you see from leftists who get too accustomed to their safe spaces and echo chambers.
YouTube comments are very sexist. YouTube comments are very entitled.
They're always nasty and disgusting.
It feels like being back in grade school, but you're only in grade school with the bullies.
Okay, so there's two sides to this. First of all, nothing they have complained about is exclusive to women, which appears to be the point of this video judging by the title and presentation. It is all women responding here, so you'd think they'd have something specific to them to bring to the table. And sure, maybe it's still early, but saying everything is harassment and sexism isn't a good start. Next, let's talk about this bullying comment. Sure, childish bullying is lame and uncalled for, but sometimes, oftentimes, these kinds of left-wingers equate bullying and harassment with actual criticism and dissent. Now, I don't know most of this cast here in the BuzzFeed video, but I am familiar with this purple-haired Gabby Dunn chick. She's a notorious feminist, leftist, and SJW who made a fool of herself on the Fousey 2 morning show ages ago. Gabby was the chick who said men can't talk to her and complained about catcalling, saying people don't deserve her time. So really, despite what she said in this BuzzFeed video, Gabby Dunn is the actual sexist and entitled one here. Yes, she calls all the men this. Projecting much? Next, let's talk about the supposed bullying again. Because if any of these creators act and push bullshit and anti-male stuff like Gabby, I wouldn't call their detractors bullies. Really what these girls are facing is simple opposition. But since they're so spoiled and they've been coddled for years by their family, friends, and sycophants, anyone telling them they are wrong feels like harassment or bullying to them. And going forward, if they are getting bullied or harassed often, that means they are just wrong and saying dumb shit often. But when people challenge their bad social justice warrior ideas, they don't see it as just differing opinions. They don't understand they could be wrong at all. They just think everyone who disagrees with them is a hater, and they continue on with their stupid ways. Kinda sad actually, but their lack of self-awareness is rather fun to watch though.
You may be talking about one thing, and then people just start talking about your boobs.
I wish men who commented on videos that women are in or make wouldn't comment on the women themselves, but would comment on the content
Of the video.
Maybe your content sucks, or maybe people aren't watching you for the reasons you think. Hate to break it to you ladies, but here's a real thing that women have to deal with on YouTube. People tend to watch women more for their looks than for their content, as you put it. I personally find the overuse of the word content on YouTube a bit cringy. Really what they mean is what the video is about and the format of the video to a lesser extent. For example, let's talk about Gabby Dunn again since she's the only one here I've ever heard of. Her content is mostly comedy skits and vlogs on her channel Just Between Us. Her and her partner Allison are hilariously unfunny though, ironically enough, but that's not really going to affect their channel much. You know why? Because most people are watching it because it's hosted by two cute girls. Well, Gabby used to be kinda cute. Now she's gone full-blown lesbian dyke, which is certainly not a good look for her. And naturally, her channel has suffered because of this look. But girls like Gabby and others in this BuzzFeed video, they're not smart enough or savvy enough to know that people are watching them because they're attractive women. And this this would actually be a legitimate complaint for them for a video that titles itself "What It's Like to Be a Woman on YouTube," but these girls completely miss that point. Instead, they actually think their pathetic and boring ramblings are what people come to their channels to watch. So when they see these comments about their looks, they get triggered and beg the viewers to comment on their content, when really, they don't even know what content the viewers come there to watch. No one cares what Gabby Dunn has to say about dating, money problems, or anything like that. People come to watch her channel because it used to be hosted by two cute Jewish American princesses. But now that the hosts are hitting the wall and their looks are fading, they're only left with about half a good looking chick and a really stubborn and hard to stand girl named Gabby Dunn.
I just fapped to this girl, smiley face. I'm not making pornography. I'm making science videos.
Well, first of all, someone fapping to you is actually a compliment. You should be flattered. But more importantly, this was clearly a joke comment, and possibly not even a real one, since BuzzFeed couldn't even be bothered to get an actual screenshot of the comment, not in its YouTube format. Regardless, there's a pretty easy way to avoid this, girls. Don't appear in your videos. Do a voiceover or get a guest host, or perhaps dress more conservatively when you go on camera. I don't know. Try it maybe. To me, it just seems like these ladies love to use their looks and their attractiveness when it gets them somewhere, when they want to get ahead on YouTube, but once it becomes inconvenient to them in the slightest, they complain again like always. Kind of like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, if you ask me. Now, I'm not saying these girls deserve gross, sexy comments like this, but they really shouldn't be surprised by them either. Take it as a compliment and move on with your day. And I would recommend a little humility here too, and some respect for what got you attention on YouTube in the first place. Remember how I said being a girl online does mean that some people will judge you by your looks more? Well, also, girls, especially attractive ones, they just move up easier and get shared more online. And this is because of their looks. People like looking at pretty girls, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when these girls go on to complain about little bullshit after getting there this way, I do take umbrage with that. If only they knew how much harder it is to come up as a guy on this platform. Even if you're ridiculously good looking like myself, if you're a guy on YouTube, you still have to have talent, work hard, and have something to say which people want to hear. Girls, on the other hand, have it much easier here, especially if you're not ugly. They don't even have to be pretty or hot. Just being well groomed and not ugly will get you lots of places on YouTube and other places online if you're a woman. Ask anyone and they will tell you girls actually have it a lot easier in this regard. But as we could see today with this BuzzFeed video, even with this being true, leftist SJWs like this, they still will complain.
The comment is, "I want to brutally murder that disgraceful Asian bitch who is obviously trying to fit in with the norm, aka Caucasians. It's blatantly apparent and I hope her parents feel ashamed to have given birth to such filth. I've never experienced the racism in real life that I have in YouTube comments."
Gee, I wonder why. Well, that's probably because people are anonymous and saying outrageous shit online for fun. Welcome to the internet. Geez, ladies, you need to learn how to take a joke once in a while. Damn, if you can't handle a few comments online like this, then YouTube is certainly not the place for you. I mean, I wouldn't even call these comments offensive or racist or anything. Things said online in a video's comment section cannot offend me in the slightest. I guess that's why I'm built for a platform like YouTube, when clearly these BuzzFeed girls are not. So, of course this girl never experienced this kind of, quote, racism in real life. Because if someone said this in real life, it might actually be offensive or racist. That's the thing though. In a lot of ways, internet banner is not real life, even though these girls do want to take it that way. Really though, I'm not sure if they're even actually offended. In reality, I think these girls are just doing this whole bit here to play the victim, in order to garner sympathy points and ass pats from their peers. Oh, and this is also their way to low-key throw shade at men.
To everyone who posts one of those comments, I just want to say, hey, what's going on over there? Who hurt you?
These people and what they say has to mean nothing to me. Otherwise, I'm gonna be a wreck.
I feel like I have very thick skin, but there's something about reading it and seeing 20 people like it or 200 people like it that really just kind of eats away at your self-esteem.
Now these social justice warriors are being rather confusing. The first one jokingly asked the mean comment makers who hurt them, when really she appears to be the one hurt here, right? She's the one whinging about YouTube comments in a BuzzFeed video. And then the second Hispanic girl says she has to pretend the comments mean nothing, otherwise they will emotionally wreck her. Well, that just shows that the comments do mean something to you, since you have to force yourself to ignore them. And finally, the black chick claims to have thick skin, but once she sees that a hater's comment is liked, it apparently hurts her ego and self-esteem. What a bunch of weak-willed phonies. These girls are the ones who are hurt, and they're the ones letting comments get to them and their egos. And that's the opposite of having thick skin, ladies. And about those hater comments getting lots of likes, well, I have to say, if these girls and their videos are getting hate all the time, over and over again, and that hate is getting liked by many others, maybe it's time for some self-reflection, ladies. Perhaps it's not everyone else in the world who is wrong here. Maybe it's just you. I'm sure these losers are making pro-leftist, SJW type videos too, judging by their inclusion of the super slutty, lesbian feminist Gabby Dunn. So I would say them constantly getting hate is actually justified. Their ideas are bad and they're refusing to adjust and accept any sort of criticism. Instead, they deem all detractors as harassers and sexists, and move on with pushing their failed leftist ideologies.
Just because I'm a person who works on the internet doesn't mean that I'm not a person in real life.
It can hurt.
I used to cry all the time whenever I would read a negative comment.
And then eventually I feel like you actually get really used to it.
It's so annoying because I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to be used to this, but I am.
Why not? Who told you that the internet was supposed to be filled with happy, nice people who kiss your ass all the time? The real world isn't filled with that, so I don't see why the internet would be. Sure, things could get a little more extreme and over the top online. This is par for course on a platform where anyone can be anonymous, but you know what? These girls could be anonymous too if they wanted, but they don't. And this is one of the downsides of putting yourself out there online. You get shit for it eventually, no matter who you are, man or woman. What separates these SJW girls though is they are not accustomed to any sort of dissent, like I said before. And this girl here is now admitting that she thinks she shouldn't have to deal with any dissent either, when really she kind of should. We all should. Adults should be able to stand their ground and be independent, free thinkers, who don't let shitty comments online get to them. And here's the thing, maybe these precious girls and their safe spaces and echo chamber worlds, they perhaps aren't getting the typical things normal people get. They aren't used to mean comments and people who disagree with them because they're attractive chicks who get their way all the time. So now the internet is their first taste of reality, and they immediately freak out and call it harassment and sexism when it's really not.
There needs to be lessons on how to treat other people in social media.
If you have like a sister or a mom, or if, like, think about how it would feel to say it to those people.
Don't tell us about our bodies. Don't tell us about the way that we sound or our ethnicities. We know all of that.
We don't need to hear it.
If you're gonna write a YouTube comment just to objectify someone or to try to make them feel uncomfortable, don't.
Or, and here's a better suggestion, if you can't handle mean comments or criticism online, don't use social media, and certainly don't do YouTube as your job. This is day one early 90s internet shit, and these BuzzFeeders just can't handle it. These are all grown-ass women too, and they're some of the weakest, most self-centered, entitled people I've ever seen. What do you guys think? Is it hard to be a woman on YouTube? Are these BuzzFeeders really getting harassed? Or are they just overreacting to people disagreeing with them? And do you think they're acting like spoiled, entitled brats? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. We'll see y'all next time.